Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, sis.
I'm back.
You're back. She's back.
It's been too long.
I
couldn't remember. I thought, wait a minute, how do I get in? Oh my God. It's good to be back. It's good to be back at the cafe.
Yes.
Let me see, I have to balance myself.
It's been too long. A big welcome back. Welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Adiaga. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And you?
And even though we've been hanging out in a different form, but I actually forgot. I thought, wait a minute, what do I do? Thank you.
Welcome back. Oops. We all missed Abdulvika.
I've missed you guys too. Let me see. Let me behave myself and sit still. Okay, just trying to balance. I hope you can see me.
Yes.
See us. The light is fine.
Yep.
Sorry, my eyes.
And I love your lipstick too. You made an effort. Your lipstick goes with your earring. See,
I learned from the best. You know, because if you see what I've been wearing to some of those Zoom calls, there have been times when I've been in my night shirt and I'll quickly put on earrings and lipstick, and nobody's the wiser because the night shirt looks like a t-shirt, you know, and all over the world you'll just be traveling in my night shirt. In fact, it's been fun, you know. So but trust me, this is actually a full dress. I thought I'll behave. Yes.
Thank you. Because you don't want to wear the 94 hour.
I was tempted to have this yellow one. I actually thought, I said nobody would know, and it says chasing the rainbows, you know. I thought, should I wear this, you know? So I thought, nah. And knowing me, I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth closed.
You would tell us.
I would say, guess what? Do you know it's actually a night shirt? Oh, it's good to be here.
Nice to have you back.
Thank you.
And we want to say thank you so much for everyone. You know, sometimes I see people who repost it, not only on the stories, they repost it on their feed. We really do appreciate you. Thank you for being here with us. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, I'll advise you to, or suggest, let me not advise, suggest that you watch the replays on either IGTV or YouTube, Oluwadiaga. But it's actually been amazing. I think this is the 13th episode that we've had. 13th episode of Hangout Cafe, and it's been amazing. Sis, you know when we started, it was I think it was bank holiday Easter Monday.
Yeah.
Easter Monday. And we okay, let's just stay and see what God has done.
See what God has done. And I also want to say well done to you. You know, because what you have been doing is you have been curating stories and curating lives. You are the curator, you know, but in a virtual space. And so, you know, just some of the conversations, the themes, you know, and even beyond the hashtag, beyond the conversation, you know, it's become a resource. You can say to somebody, oh, are you dealing with fear? Then go to Olu Atadiaga, go to the YouTube channel and watch, you know, so it's resource. It's empowering, it's educating, and you've stayed the course, you know. So, you know, you've had many guest writers come and go. So thank you so very much to you, because even just coming on now, I still had butterflies in my tummy.
I always do this,
you know, because like, oh my God, I have to, you know, and all of that, you know. So to be here, you know, every Saturday afternoon, you know, and all of that, and just as it were, stewarding and holding, you know, this space. So I'm sure, you know, everybody on would say yes. A round of applause.
Oh,
you know, so thank you so very much.
People like you and everybody that comes on every Saturday.
Yeah.
Really, do you know, sis, what you said is so true. Because I heard someone say something once about, oh, the show. And I said, it's not a show. We're not entertaining you, you know. And like sis said, we're educating, we're trying to make an impact. You know, here on the Hangout Cafe, we comfort, we laugh together. You know, we're real. I mean, my sister is anti-real. She is so real. She's so authentic.
Life is too short to be pretending.
Yeah, you know, be yourself.
I can't do that.
And the stories that we're telling, they're stories that are, by God's grace, impacting lives and making a difference. So please, it's not a show.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not a show. It's definitely not a show. I mean, when I listen to Jane Banfor tell her story, and you know, in being in secondary school and struggling, you know, with suicidal thoughts, and not even just thoughts, but you know, actually, you know, wanted to take her life because she was just so bullied. That's not a hashtag. You know, that's not entertainment. That is somebody's real life lived experience. You know, and I dare say, maybe even for some of us, you know, who are watching now or who will watch later, you know, and all of that. So we have to steward that, you know, and all of that. Or listen to Emma say, because of her genotype, her blood group, you know, living between fear and faith, and all of that. No fault of hers, you know. I'm here, I'm alive, but you know, I have sickle cell. So it's not entertainment. It's not a hashtag. You know, it's not about how many followers or likes. You know, it takes a lot of courage, you know, to come out, you know, and be in a space where, and it's there, you know. And so we can go on and on. So for everyone, and even for people who do log on to watch and to participate, and maybe, you know, go on the YouTube thereafter, because it's there, it's permanent, you know. You know, you're not going, and even if we started off by saying, okay, yes, I want to be entertained, it's gone beyond that. It's not about entertainment. You know, these are very deep things, you know. And you may say to yourself, well, when I go to the cafe, you know, I go to the cafe, I want to relax and all that, but it's also a place where I have some of the deepest conversations, you know, with whoever, or even with myself. So well done.
And you know, sis, another thing, you know, Emma was on last week.
Yes.
And I know someone in particular said to me, oh, she didn't join because she saw a young girl. And she saw fear and faith, and she thought, what can she teach me? And she didn't join. But I sent her the YouTube video afterwards, and she sent me. That's how I knew. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry that I didn't join, because at first when I saw the poster, or the flyer, I thought, what has she got to teach me?" And you know, you don't do that, because you never know. A lesson you're going to learn. You never know the impact that someone is going to make on your life. So please never judge a book by its cover.
Absolutely.
Because you never know.
Yeah, we're always learning, and I love to learn from young people, because again, it's the whole thing about the lived experience. You know, they're living in a space that I don't live in, I don't have access to, and you know, they're navigating through everything about their life. And so I love to listen, and I love to learn from them. In fact, you know, if on the spectrum, it's more the young people, because they bring a different perspective. I'm thinking, oh, really? Is that what it's like? Is that what, you know? And so yes. So, there's nobody I can't learn from, to be honest. I'm because, you know, I'm a consummate learner, and just love to learn, you know, work on myself, improve, you know, and whatnot. So yeah, we've got to always be in that space. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, hug time. I've missed you, so I'm giving you a virtual hug. Can we
receive all the virtual hugs
and say hello to everyone, people that have just joined us? Let's give Vika, let's give ourselves a virtual hug. Hug.
Yes. Hug. Oh, you know, some of the wonderful, you know, sisters, brothers, male, female, I'm back.
Yes, she's back. She's always on my case. It's not just sisters, they're brothers.
You know, they say no, they love the Hangout Cafe. You know, this is where they want to be, and all of that. And Lord knows, you know, we're sending you back hugs and lots of love. Lots of love.
Thank you so much.
Gosh, we can do with love. You can never be, you know, one of my favorite expressions is that, you know, God loves me extravagantly.
Ooh,
you know, He doesn't hold back.
God loves me extravagantly. I love that. I love that.
You know, no shortages. You know, there's room enough and all of that. So I am so loved extravagantly, and so are you all. You are loved extravagantly. So please just receive that. You know, all we need is love.
All we need is love. Oh,
yes.
Love.
Love. You've got the color of love on you. I love your red. It's really nice.
Thank you. I said it's my you can't say it properly now, but it's got all over.
Okay.
So it's what I wear for Hallelujah Challenge.
Okay.
So, yes.
Yeah. I've got, you know me, I'm polka dots. So
yes, you
got
love
my
your polka dots.
I can't get enough of polka dots. I love my polka dots. So yes.
So Sis came up with this topic for today's Hangout, Beyond the Hashtag. Now, a few people sent me messages saying, what is that? What does that mean? They can't wait to find out what it means, beyond the hashtag. Sis, do you want to tell them, or start off by telling them?
Well, let's start the conversation, yes. And please, as we do, populate the chat, because it'd be nice to know what your take is.
In fact, today we want you guys to do a lot of sending a lot of comments.
Absolutely, lots of participation and all of that. I find that, you know, in an era of you know, what you will call, you know, the fourth industrial revolution, some would say, in a time of, you know, increased use of technology, which is wonderful. So whichever platform, you know, as we're using even right now, you know, what do you call it, Instagram and whatnot. You know, sometimes life can become about a sound bite and a hashtag, right? Where, you know, we're not really engaging or present. And like you said, there's some of the conversations that we've had, whether it's even, you know, at the Hangout Cafe. When I say have, as in like we've participated in, we've listened in, and that we must be careful that, you know, there is something beyond a hashtag, beyond a like, beyond an emoji, you know. So behind, you know, the interface, you know, or the back end story are people's lived experience, you know, which we must steward. So, I mean, you can take it on the global. I mean, if I look at 2020, one of the ways I will refer to it is the summer of my discontent. You know, it's not an original quote in the sense that it was originally quoted by Shakespeare, you know, referring to Richard III. And it says the winter of our discontent, you know. So, you know, we live in a time where so much upheaval, so much discontent, so many curveballs, so much of life going on. And that, you know, sometimes, you know, we have to be careful that we don't hide behind a hashtag, you know, because it's beyond the hashtag. So for instance, everyone that has, for instance, been a guest barrister and has come here, whether to inspire us, to inform us, to share their story and all of that, they're not a hashtag. You know, these are real people. Those of us who are logging in, who say, you know what, 12 o'clock, you know, British Standard Time, I'm logging in and I want to participate. They're, you know, they're not hashtags, you know, they're not about followers, you know, and all of that. You know, we're all real and, you know, living our real life experience and whatnot. So, you know, it's just to set the context to say, you know, it's beyond the hashtag. We've been challenged, you know, to do something, to engage, to get involved, you know, in our lives. So whether it is, you know, checking up on a neighbor, you know, sending the text, you know, praying, you know, holding somebody's hand, you know, even if it's virtually and whatnot, you know, we must realize that, you know, our experience and our reality especially in 2020, is not just about, it's beyond the hashtag, right? It is a lived, real and shared experience. So that was what kind of inspired, because in my own private moments and whatnot, you know, it's like, you know, God, you know, the hashtag is very empowering, you know, in terms of when you talk about the social media space and whatnot. But it's like, what has it really been like? You know, what has been your lived experience, you know, in a world that, I mean, I drove to Kingston the other day, you know, just yesterday actually. And even the roadworks I was going on, you know, it said new lanes, you know, so there was a particular road I was driving on and it said new lanes, be aware there are new lanes, COVID-19 lane. So in other words, and so what that sign was saying is that, you know, we've had to, as it were, rebuild or relayer or redesign these roads because of COVID-19. I thought, my goodness. And what does that look like? So it meant that they had to kind of widen the pedestrian side of the road to allow for social distancing. So what would have been the pedestrian path, and please, you know, forgive me because I'm using, again, my experience. I'm living in the UK currently, and I know people who log in, you know, from different parts of the world. But, you know, again, this is beyond the hashtag, you know, so here's a COVID-19. In fact, I actually wanted to take the picture, you know, take a photograph of it, but I didn't kind of get around to it. And I thought, my goodness, this thing is really, I mean, you know, yes, you're having to get a contractor in to widen the road because, you know, your pedestrians have to social distance. And so what would have been the pavement or the pedestrian pathway has to be, you know. And I thought, you know what other adjustments, you know, are you and I, you know, and, you know, our families are having to make, and how is that impacting? So it's beyond a hashtag, you know, so that's, you know, that's a thought.
So people, you know what Sister Abby just said now, what other adjustment we're asking you now, what adjustment have you had to make over this 4 months or so of lockdown? Well, we've eased up a bit now, but let us know, what other adjustment have you had to make? And I also, whilst you guys are typing that in, I also understand, I think because of people now, or because they're encouraging more people to cycle, so even the cycling lanes to have been widened, so that more cyclists can get around. So a lot of changes are just going to happen.
Yes. So one good one is, for instance, the mask. Like here, for instance, you know, you are not allowed to go into a shop. So I just, you know, I came out of a meeting where somebody said, you guys are slow in the UK. In New York, you know, you have to wear your mask all the time, you know, or in some other places. So, but, you know, we could still go to the shops. But now you have somebody even at the shop, you can't even say, I don't have a mask, apart from the fact that you may get a fine. And some shops are generous where they will give you the mask before you enter. And as I said, I was talking in a different context before logging on. And, you know, somebody said, I actually find that, you know, claustrophobic, you know, it's doing my head in, you know, and all of that. So these are some of the, you know, it's beyond the hashtag. These are some of the realities that, you know, a COVID-19 world is defining how we live, you know.
I'm just saying, David saying, I've always washed my hands. My mom taught me well.
Okay. Yes.
I hate the face covering with all my heart, but I don't have a choice.
Yes.
And then Yinka, not being able to just pop into the shops within a short time frame. I know you have to prepare, you have to wear your mask and all of that stuff. Widening my educational scope by taking more courses that will widen my network and opportunities, taking my risk, learning how to manage money, and that I don't need all those designer stuff. I know we don't need all those clothes. Yes, we.
Let's even talk about that. And
yes,
I mean, and indeed, you know, talking about the mask, I find that because it's quite fiddly. You can't rush because, you know, you've got your earrings on, you know, for someone like me, I've got glasses. And then when I go out, sometimes they have my wireless earphones, because obviously maybe, you know, telephone conversation, I'm listening to me. And now I have to have another layer, the mask. So sometimes, you know, the strap of the mask, you know, gets caught in the hair, the earring, you know, the glasses. And I'm like, my goodness. So even before I go out, I have to really be intentional and prepare, because there's now another layer and whatnot. And yes, of course, it has to be done in the scheme of things, you know, we're not whinging, but we're just saying that this is something else that we're grappling with and that has become normal, you know, for us. And we do it, and the science of it apparently is that when you protect yourself, you know, you're also protecting the others. So here we are, we're socially distancing, at least in terms of physical space, but then, you know, we're so interlocked, you know, and all of that. And so even in a bizarre way, the virus has made us even more interconnected, because my sneeze, you know, can affect you. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
You know, or when I social distance, like sometimes, you know, when I go for a walk, you know, and again, you come across a narrow path and then you have to wait for the other person and all of that. And, you know, you make the eye contact, you say it's nothing personal, you know, it's just, so we're learning social discourse, you know, it's beyond the hashtag. It definitely is. You know,
so we put, realize makeup is not compulsory. Absolutely. Before you enter Apple Store, your temperature must be checked. Okay.
Wow.
I haven't actually gone to the shops, to be honest. Only local Tesco and grocery stores, but I haven't been to the stores since. I've learned to spend wisely now and only get what I need, not what I want, as against buying stuff for the sake of it.
Oh, wow. I like what David put. He said, I've learned to appreciate nature.
Yes.
Because we don't, you know, we don't see it, you know, before, you know, because we are rushing, you know, learning to appreciate nature and wide open spaces. You know, there was something. There's a phrase that came to my mind that says, you know, we're learning to see with our ears. We're learning to see with our ears. You know, and that just simply says, you know, we're forced to pay more attention.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. We're forced to pay more attention. And even the earth, it seems as if the earth was saying, can you stop and see me?
We need it to stop.
Yes. Can you stop and listen? Yes. Can you stop and listen? Yes. You know, and I wonder whether we really, even though obviously the lockdown has eased here, you know, in the UK, and, you know, the cars are back on the road and whatnot, but there's definitely a redefinition that has taken place. You know, I don't know whether you've observed that, Sister Funke. You know, where, like you said, we now queue up to go into the shops.
Okay.
There's you can't just rush in and say, oh, you can't jump the queue. I mean, the Great British queue, we're known to you know, to queue anyway, but there's nothing like, let me jump the queue and dash in and get, you know, a tin of sardines or whatever. You've got to wait. Yes. You've got to wait your turn.
Wow. There's so many. Becoming more appreciative of the smaller things. The lockdown has taught me to enjoy spending time with myself, enjoy my own company. The virus has made me look at people differently. I volunteer in a place and see people really look nice, but each person has a different story. Absolutely, we all have stories. For people with severe allergies, it's actually a bit more of the same: extra hand washing, cleaning, blah, blah, blah. It's a way of life for us, okay? I've been cooking for others. I've been able to save. I just can't believe it. It's ridiculous. Yes, now you're not going out spending on. Sola said, not being able to cough or sneeze in public without getting the side eye. I almost choked on a cough yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
I can relate to that. Yes, when I was out yesterday, I had a cough because the mask actually was making me cough. And I was holding the cough in, you know, really trying to stifle it and all of that. I'm thinking, oh gosh, what kind of a thing is this? Yeah. Somebody said, God created us for relationship. Honestly, I miss my brothers and sisters in Christ. Yes, absolutely. I hear you, Opeyemi, Durojaye. Yes, just missing the social, you know, contact. Yes. Yeah. That is so true. Yes. I find, again, it must be so good for the environment because I'm not buying as much petrol in the car. True. You know. True. So and my car, just before the lockdown, was due for servicing, but obviously all the, you know, service shops, the mechanics were closed. And I find that even my car is not coughing as much because just before lockdown it was like, oh, you know, really choking. But it hasn't been serviced and it's going very well because even the car, you know, needed to rest. So so isn't that interesting? And as you know, some of our friends online are saying, indeed, you know, just clothes, things. You know, I think, oh gosh, if I don't have those, whatever. I live in track downs and change my top for all my new things and things like that, you know. So
a lot of things we realize we don't really need, to be honest. We really don't need all those stuff.
Yes, you know.
We don't.
Yeah. And I don't know if people are missing going, you know, like, you know, normally this is summer. So even if it's to go to Brighton, to the seaside, or, you know, or wherever, Butlins, you know, board the plane, go to the, you know, go on the continent. I wonder if, in fact, there was a joke, I'm sure some of our friends here have seen it, where it was a passport, it was a page of a passport, and it said the only stamps in this passport are kitchen, back garden, empty the trash, go to the toilet. Those are the only stamps that are in
saw that.
You know, do you know, I don't know, the people miss traveling, you know, the going to the, I don't know. Somebody said not missing the parties.
No, I'm definitely not missing parties.
I don't miss the parties either. Especially the Great Nigerian Party. Oh gosh.
Definitely. Maybe travel, yes.
Travel, okay, you do miss travel.
But
okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
The children were asking a few days ago, are we going to Nigeria for Christmas? What are we doing for Christmas? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
Some people miss traveling.
David said he missed airports.
Yeah.
I bumped into old. I miss traveling. Anne says she misses. Seriously, I miss traveling. Okay, Esther misses traveling. Okay, so pleased to finally join.
Hey, welcome.
Staycations. What's staycations? Oh, staycations, vacations, staycations.
Vacation.
That's a good one. I miss
Staycation.
weddings. Okay, Sissy Bella, definitely miss traveling. Could do with a relaxing holiday. Okay, so where would be the first place? Okay, Sissy Ronke, where would be the first place you would go if you could? Okay, Bumi. Oh,
Yeah,
that went
Bumi,
so
you're
fast.
like
I
me
didn't
too.
get
I'm a
that.
homebody. I don't really miss. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't miss the parties, to be honest, because to be honest, after some time, those parties were more an obligation. Yeah, and whatnot. So I don't miss parties. I've always preferred smaller, let's have a barbecue in the back garden. Let's meet at the cafe,
Yeah.
Let's meet up in London and all of that. But those great, big, massive parties that we are, not really. I don't.
She misses travel, but that's because of your business.
Yeah,
Her bank account
America.
misses it too.
I don't
Yes.
miss parties. So where will be the first place you will go to?
So Tanzania,
Jamaica,
Prague,
to the
Santorini,
beach. You can go to the beach though, can't you? Some people said, yeah, new
Lagos.
neighbors. I don't miss the Ashwebi. Yeah, me neither.
No.
And the Ashwebi means, apart from the color, it means trips to the tailor. The zip.
Yeah.
And
Please explain what Ashwebi is for those
oh yeah,
that don't
that's true.
understand.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to? Okay. Now, Ashwebi actually is a Yoruba word. If you really want me to get into it, it's Asho is cloth. Ebi means family.
Yeah.
So traditionally, the Yoruba tribe, right? One of the ways that you will identify a tribe, just like you have with the Scottish, and they have the kilt, and you have the stewards, and each cloth represents, the color and the weave represents the tribe or the clan. So similarly with the Yoruba tribe, there's something called the Ashwebi, and so it's a cloth that, please help me out now, you guys, so I hope I'm doing well. So it's a cloth that the family would wear, and obviously each the weave of the cloth, the ashoke, depends on the occasion. So there's alari, if I remember, there's sonyo. So the colors, it's almost like your end
that
time.
was the original intent of
that was the original intent,
but now
Ashwebi. Yes, so it means, so we wear this cloth because it says we're from this clan, we're from this tribe, or this is the occasion.
Yes.
And rightly so. So with the party culture, and to be honest, there's nothing wrong with that. So if somebody is getting married, so how you have your bridesmaids, obviously, they're all kitted out in the same color.
Yes.
So similar, so another layer would be, you will now say to all your first cousins, or the mother of the bride will say to, and the extreme of it is called the Pepperdam gang.
I just saw Bumi said it's the clothes everyone, family, friends, and even enemies will wear.
And enemies wear. So on this occasion, so a color is picked, a certain fabric is picked, and everybody goes out to buy the fabric, and they appear at the events, all color coordinated, all in sync. And so it's a way of saying, it's like the football club, the Arsenal fan. Arsenal, a shout out for Arsenal fans, for all the Gunners.
Oh, please.
We wear the red. Or the Chelsea fan, and all of that. So it's the club, it's the identity, it's the brand. So that's how to put it down. So when we appear at the wedding, and then we all have on a certain color of a certain weave, immediately it says, these are the friends of the mother of the bride, or these are the friends of the groom. So that's why Ashwebi is. But the sad thing is that we have to now do that every weekend.
Now everybody, in fact, somebody said it's now a way of raising funds for the party.
Really?
That's what that's what people do.
Okay, because they mark it up. So let's say it costs £20, and so there's a markup. So you now sell it for 25.
Actually, there was a family wedding tradition I remember a few years ago. Yes. And there were some people on our table wearing this Ashwebi, but they didn't know the bride's parents or the groom's parents. They didn't know somebody was now invited. And it was ridiculous. I was like, why are you here if you don't even know anybody?
Get free food now.
Free food.
Free food. Yes. I remember there was one young person I was talking to once, and it was like, Auntie, I don't even bother going clubbing anymore. I just look, especially for those who live in Lagos, it's like, I just look for the next wedding and go. He said, because, free food and all of that. Why am I spending money buying my drinks and all that? So if there's a friend getting married or a friend's friend, we just report. We're entertained. We have a jolly good time and stuff like that. Yes. So, today is really light. We just thought.
But sis, I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead, please.
How do you own your story, right, in a year that's defined by this global pandemic? How do you own your story?
How do you own your story? Well, the first word, and you know, one of my favorite words is that, you know, is you authentically own your own story.
How?
So the year has been defined, right, by a global pandemic, but does it define you? And if it does, in what ways has it defined you? And even from looking at some of the comments here, you know, what I thought was important, right, is really not that deep.
It's no longer deep.
Yeah. Yes. You know, where I thought I need to spend money, perhaps, you know, I can actually make a saving here. You know, where I'm just too much into myself, maybe I really do need to check up on that neighbor, you know, and all of that, or make that phone call. So, yes, so I'm owing my story because I'm rewriting my story. 2020, this has rewritten all our stories. Yeah. So the way, and the story is still being written, you know, it's a story that will be told, right? Yeah. You know, from very different perspectives and whatnot, you know, the year of the mask, you know, and all of that. But I think the way I own it, right, is, you know, is to allow the story to be told, you know, and to be said, to be told, to be written, to be captured, you know, in a way that's extremely authentic, you know. So if it's the year in which I cried, you know, I mean, you know, we're talking, but the truth of the matter is, I know people who had, you know, they were supposed to be getting married this year, you know, they've planned this lovely wedding, you know, and all of that. I can think of about 3 lovely families and all of that. And, you know, the COVID, you know, just obviously it wasn't, you know, some had to really scale it down, you know, Zoom weddings, Zoom funeral and all of that. And so the story.
But you know, sometimes that can be a blessing in disguise, because all the money you would have spent, sis.
But look, when I know, I agree. But if you've been dreaming about this wedding, you know, since you were 18 and all of that, you know, there's only, how much asun can you really have, you know, on Zoom? You know, asun is a way of saying hors d'oeuvres or small chops, you know, and all of that. So yeah, it saves money, and that's true, you know, and all of that. But when you're in love and all of that, the truth of the matter is, your priority is not so much about saving money. It's like, I've dreamt about this wedding. I saw 100 people. I saw 50. I even saw 30, but I'm told that I can't even have 30 people at my wedding, you know. Just before lockdown, I was at a retreat with some of the members of church. We'd gone to this lovely place in Old Windsor. And there was supposed to be a wedding that weekend, because that was the weekend. It was, you know, it was Mothering Sunday, March, I think 23rd, you know. And we saw the bride crying and thoroughly distraught. You know, we even saw, you know, the members of staff, they were over-serving us because they knew that we were going to be their last guests. And they were genuinely sad, you know, because it was like, you know, we won't get to serve you. You know, we're going on lockdown. You know, these facilities are closing. And the bride was, you know, and the groom, they were in tears, because obviously they picked this lovely venue. And no matter how small, even if it was 50 people, you know, I think maybe they only had 10. And because even people didn't even want to attend, because, you know, at the beginning, even if you say come out, it's like, no, thank you. You know, I'd rather stay away. So that's part of the story. You know, how do I own my story? Is that the story in many ways has been rewritten for me. You know, when we woke up to 2020, nobody.
We're all looking forward to 2020.
You know, even the numbers, you know, everybody had a prophecy, the way it would be and all of that. But, you know, the one who rules in the affairs of the nations and who has the whole world, it just talk about being redefined. Yeah,
but nothing takes God by surprise. So
absolutely,
he knows.
Yes. So
funerals. I think that for me is one of the most difficult ones this year.
Funerals. Yes.
Not being able to
attend. I mean, and close family members. You know, I know people who, you know, if you lose somebody in a different country where airports are closed and all of that, you can't even bother. You can't even go home and and participate and show your last respects and and even be a comfort or be comforted because airports are closed and you're not allowed to travel to to go for a family funeral. So that's hard.
That's hard. Really, really hard. And then even when people were ill in hospital, you couldn't even visit them to comfort them.
You couldn't. Yes. So it's really, And what about even once again, you know, we can't thank those who do work in the medical field, you know, or who are key workers. We can't thank them enough.
No.
You know, who really, you know, warfare was really redefined. I remember before the whole lockdown thing, there was once I had a dream, and in that dream I saw like an air raid, right? Literally like military aircrafts. And when I looked at the, you know, at the sea, you know, there were like all these battleships, and I thought, you know, what kind of a dream is this? It just didn't make any sense. You know, it was as, you know, the whole pandemic and the plague thing, you know, just really, you know, went bust, as it were. That I realized that perhaps it was the Holy Spirit's way of showing me the air raid, because this virus is airborne, you know, and all of that. You know, so that's a story that I would tell, you know, where I saw something, but I didn't understand what it was until when it was fully blown out there, you know, and whatnot. When you think about precious nations on the continent, you know, Italy and Spain, you know, some of the nations where, you know, body bags, and, you know, it's beyond the hashtag. One of my closest friends who is a doctor, you know, and I won't mention what trust she works for, who she is, but she said, you know, there was once, you know, as you know, she would go to work and she noticed that, you know, they had like these trailers packed behind her office, you know, and she was wondering, why are they bringing in these trailers? These trailers were makeshift mugs, right? Yeah, this was her reality. And she said one day she just had to say, please, I'm going to have to move my office and all of that. Or when me as a pastor, I work ecumenically in Croydon, right? And that means, you know, not just with, you know, my own denomination, but, you know, whether you're Catholic, Methodist, you know, and all of that. So we have a leadership group, we meet and pray, we strategize. But when one of our meetings are like, you know, please, you know, according to the government report, there are going to be many, you know, many who will lose their lives, and we're going to need you to be on call, you know, to conduct funerals. I thought, not on my watch. What kind of a thing is this? You know, because we're not going to be able to cope with the number. You know, we don't have enough priests and pastors, you know, and vicars, you know, to cope. I mean, that was a real conversation. The memo went out, you know, we had the meeting and all of that. And it's beyond a hashtag, you know. So yes, and you know, body bags and funerals and things like that. God in his mercy, though, in his mercy, we you know, at least in our borough, it didn't get to that extreme, but yeah, there was a lot of loss of lives, and so God, you just have to pause.
God was definitely merciful. Remember Excel, that they thought was going to be filled with, thank God, you know, God.
Yes, because it was made into a makeshipt hospital, you know, and a Nightingale Center. They had one in Excel in Birmingham. For those who are watching, Pastor Funka, maybe you want to talk about Excel. What Excel normally is?
Excel is an event center where the denomination that we belong to, RCCG, we have an event there once a year, twice. It used to be twice a year, where we'll have about 45,000 people worship all night. But it was converted into a makeshift hospital when COVID started. And I can't remember how many thousand beds they were going to have. Yeah, they were going to have there. But
somebody can Google it, how many thousands of beds it was supposed to accommodate, because the hospitals couldn't cope.
But thank God. You know,
but thank God.
We can see the hand of God. He really
absolutely. You know, and you know, it begs the question, you know, when you think of, you know, like I said, Spain or Italy, where, you know, they did have to use, you know, some other countries where they did
4,000, okay.
4,000, okay. So it was 4,000 at Excel, and then there was one in Birmingham, you know, the Birmingham Center, they had built there too. So, and even in Manchester, so they were ready to take 4, but, you know, it was because the regular hospitals were filled to capacity, and even the care homes, you know, they were, because again, like I said, some of the people that call me pastor, you know, actually, you know, work in some of these homes, you know, or are medical people or friends or even relatives or whatever, you know, distant cousins and whatnot. So even care homes were being converted. So it's, you know, today really you just say to yourself, God, I thank you. You know, we had to cry with those who cried. We've had to laugh with those who laughed. And then there were some supernatural miracles. There's a wonderful, you know, stories, you know, talking about, you know, owning the story of this couple. This is true, you know, so because we were praying into it, where the hospital had actually said to the wife, please come and say bye-bye to your husband, you know, because there's nothing more we can do for him. He, you know, he did have COVID and whatnot. He had the virus. So, and she said no. She said, this is not what we planned, you know, and grabbed her pastor and the anointing oil, goes to the hospital from a distance, you know, prays, you know, touches him, anoints, and says, I'm not here to tell you bye-bye, you know, and goes home. And then they call her again 2 weeks later, please, madam, you've got to come and say bye-bye, you know, and all of that, because, you know, all the indication, he's bleeding from his mouth, you know, and all of that. She goes back again and says no. It happened the third time. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I think 3 weeks ago he was discharged. He's home.
Whoa,
He's well.
Praise God.
So we still saw the supernatural hand of God. And for everyone praying. And I know, like as I said, where people are logging in from different countries, I know, you know, we've peaked, you know, and in a way it's you know, we've in a sense, it's, you know, it's plateaued, but, you know, we're kind of like on top of it now. But I know that in some places, you know, some other countries, they're still feeling very vulnerable and whatnot. So we'll continue to pray. You know, we continue to support. We continue to be sensitive, you know, and realize that, you know, what an incredible year this has been. All the upheaval, whether it's the race, you know, the race upheaval, all of that, all the, you know, where people even defied, you know, social distancing and said, I'm going to go out and protest. You know, you know, my voice must be heard, and whatnot. And in whatever, guys, you know, to talk, you know, I would also say it's a year where a lot of injustice, a lot of what people have suffered, you know, has also, you know, there's the plague of injustice, you know, the plague of disease, you know, the place of discrimination, you know, whether it's by race or sex, you know, all of these things just, you know, it came to the surface in 2020. It sure did. Yes. Yeah.
A lot of unveiling and revealing things coming out. Things that, a lot of things that we, in fact, when I see all these injustices on, you know, now that everybody has a camera and they can record these things, I'm like, wow, you know, sometimes my blood will just begin to boil. I'm like, Lord God, have mercy.
Yes, Somebody just posted something there that there's a grandma who for 111 days in hospital due to COVID, she never stopped reciting Psalm 91.
Wow.
I like that. 2020 has taught me to thank God for what I have.
Yes. So true.
Yes. Oh yeah. Because I've been on lockdown in the house, I find that even something like, you know, I don't know if this happens to you, but you know, I'll look at a wall and I'll be like, this wall is so dirty. This wall needs to be painted. I mean, obviously you can't bring a painter in. You know, now it doesn't matter. It's like, even this mark on the wall. Oh, thank you that I can even be locked down in a house. You know, you have internally displaced people, you know, living in camps, and whatnot. It really, honestly, all of a sudden, nothing really mattered, and it started with, you know, what was going on the inside of me. It really did not matter, Sister Funke. It did not. You know, and I was like, God, I thank you that I can just even be able to breathe, to even be alive was my priority, to stay safe, to check on people, to make sure that my family is safe, you know, and all of that, to make sure that, you know, to make sure that my parents, you know, my priority just changed, you know, and whatnot, you know.
In fact, I'm grateful. We celebrated my mom's 80th a couple
of
yes. You know, really grateful. And someone I brought Captain Thomas Moore, who wanted to raise 1,000 and ended up raising over 32 million. That was amazing.
Now isn't that a miracle in itself? Amazing. Over 32 million, Captain Thomas Moore. You know, and for his 100th birthday. I mean, even those, to me, these are some of, you know, there's this series called The Stories of New York. You know, the stories of
Humans of New York.
Humans of New York, the humans of COVID. You know, we survived a different type of war. You know, war heroes. You know, when you think about our veterans, you know, whether it is a Biafran war, you know, Vietnam War, you know, World War II, you know, whatever war, Kosovo, you know, the war against, you know, apartheid, you know, the survivors. And here comes this man, you know, who really is a military man, but you know, but is fighting in a different, and raised 32 million pounds. I mean, it's like, my God, these are some of the stories. You know,
and
that
there's a shout out. There's a lady here, Lola. Even during this COVID, she's been feeding. Before, she used to feed the homeless, but she continued.
Well
feeding them.
done.
Lola, well done. Well done.
Well done. Thank you.
Well
yes,
done.
feeding the homeless.
Yeah.
Yes. And we've had that too, in our, feeding the homeless and even those who are not homeless, who who lost their jobs, who couldn't afford to stay at home, but just couldn't have a job, and who had to depend on the food bank, and all of that. That in itself is just, I mean, thank God for the provision of a food bank, but to say I'm going to go to the food bank because that is my sustenance, it's just so humbling, and so thank you.
Sis, remember one of the things we said was that, for those who have been with us since we started Hangout Cafe, we've had different topics, cough balls and all.
Save me a seat.
Save me a seat.
Dreams.
Winning. What does winning look like to you?
Friendship.
Make that move. I'm a parent. Everything that you've experienced over this last few weeks. What are you running with it, shall I say? So are you making that move, for example? Have your relationships been redefined? How are you handling the couples, the COVID couple, Black Lives Matter couple?
Black Lives Matter.
Yes. So how are you handling all those things? We really want to find out. What else have we talked? Parent, I'm a parent. Yes.
Help, I'm a parent.
Parent. We talked about that.
That was good. Yes.
Are you telling your stories and owning your stories? And don't be ashamed to tell your stories. Be vulnerable, like Sis said. Everyone that's come on, they've told their story, in a different way, shape, or form. But they're telling your story. You own your story. There's something I posted not too long ago. I said you can draw your story. You can write a poem about your story. You can sing your story, whatever it is, just do it. Sew your story. Somebody said she's going to learn how to sew her story. Maybe, I don't know how, but maybe make, what do they call this patch?
A quilt.
A quilt, yes.
Quilt, okay.
Just write your story on it or something.
Yes.
Well, yes, do so. Identity, thank you. Yes, we talked about identity. That was a very
identity is so powerful. And your ness. I love the way your ness, your uniqueness, your funkeness, your Abbiness, your Olutorera-ness. Your Uzo Wuga-ness. Which talks about the essence of who you are, at the core, your identity, and how sometimes it can be defined by life, by others. But this season is about taking it back. Right, and all of that, discovering who I am, right, and embracing my ness, celebrating my ness. Oh yes, celebrating my ness, and everything that I've experienced, up until this day, is in a sense, there's a totality. It's not about tomorrow. The totality about today is worth my saying thank you. Is worth my celebration, and is worth affirmation, lots of affirmation. Yes. So yes.
And dreams. Allow yourself to dream. Don't write off. Since remember we said don't write off 2020. Don't write off 2020 because you don't know what's around the corner. And like we said, God is still at work. It's still at work.
Absolutely.
So you can't afford to give up. So please dream on.
That's good. That's good. Because again, having some private conversations, I know some people are like, we can't wait for 2020 to be over. 2021, we're done. 2020 is over and all of that. And we get it. We can appreciate that. But we're not. We're going into August, and like you said, we just don't know. And I was listening to someone speak the other day, and it was like, isn't it interesting that sometimes it's in a season of crisis. It's when it's dark, right? And all of that, there can be a lot of innovation. There can be a lot of reflection. There can be a lot of, I'm going to pick up my boots and I'm going to make this work. And that can come out of the strain of life. So am I going to allow this to defeat me, or is this going to be the springboard, into the what next? I can go crying, I may go with some scars, I may go frustrated and disappointment. But as you said, I am definitely, it's expedient. I've just got to do this and I'm going, so yeah.
Yes, thank you. If God can do this in 6 months, I'm definitely going to believe him for the impossible for the next 6 months. Yes. Yes.
It's always darkest before dawn. That's so Abby Olufeyimi. Yes, indeed.
Yes. And it's also a year to unlearn things. That's true. Um, for me, it's been a year of abundance. We thank God. It's a redefining year, loads to learn and unlearn. Okay, that's why. Yes, there's so many things. And the
Yeah,
light.
embrace your own uniqueness,
Yes.
Wendy. Thank you.
Yes. It's,
Yep. Yeah. You know that I remember once I asked somebody, I said, how do you listen? How do you hear God? You know, how do you hear God? And and this answer, and I don't know why, for some reason it just came to me.
Yes.
He said you learn to hear God's voice by listening to yourself, listening to others, and listening to the world around you.
Okay.
To be honest, I was actually at a retreat, Crowhurst, in Sussex, the old rectory.
Okay.
And it was one of those silent retreats and whatnot.
Right.
And it was like, he says, you learn by listening to yourself, you listen to others, and you listen to the world around you. 2020 has given us space to do that, to listen to ourselves, to listen to others.
Yeah.
The Hangout Cafe has been about, hearing stories, and listen to the world around us. Yeah. And somewhere in there, we will hear God's voice. Yeah. So, beyond the hashtag, hearing God's voice, for those of you who, I'm not going to make any assumption that, everybody is, is of faith, but even if you're not, and, you're listening, or you will listen later, what are some of the sounds? What are some of the the voices that we've heard? Right? Yeah. And those sounds are not in silos. They have meaning. So I've heard myself in perhaps in a way that I've heard others. I've heard their fears. Yeah. I've heard gratitude. Yes. I've heard anger. I've heard frustration. Yeah. I've heard the world around me. The world around me saying, we're tired of injustice. I've heard women say, we're tired. We're tired of molestation and rape. Yes. We've heard even the animals, the world around us say, we're taking the space back. Yeah. Able to hear the birds. Are the birds singing louder? Yes, no, it's just because we have. Yes, they are in a sense, but maybe they're not. It's because the noise has, even the noise pollution.
Because now we can.
Now we can hear. Yes. So it's time to actually see with our ears. It's time to see with our ears. Yeah. See. How is that for a thought? I'm not seeing with what I see, but I'm seeing with my ears. Yes.
And it's definitely been a year where, at least the last few months, where we've slowed down. I've slowed down.
Yeah.
More to listen. What am I even saying to myself? What is the world saying? What is Sister Abby saying? And what are the people here in Hangout Cafe saying? How are stories intertwined?
How are stories intertwined? Yeah. Somebody says, I can hear the trees speaking. Yeah. I mean, that's a story on its own. Yeah. This morning I went for a little walk because I just needed to clear my head, and it was just so fresh. I thought, let me get out and go for a walk. And the trees, the wind, even the hum of a car, other people walking on the...
Before we go, someone said, can you explain quickly a bit more, seeing with one's ears? We've got like 1 minute.
Okay, so for instance, if for somebody who is blind in the natural, right, their sense of sight is heightened by using their ears. Yeah. So they see with their ears. And so sometimes I find that I can't just go by what I see. So yes, there's a COVID, there's virus, there's economic recession. Are we going now that for us living in the UK, we've left, the European Union and the fallout of all of that. So there's a lot that is bombarding me, right? And so, but as a woman of faith and as a Christian, right, sometimes I have to, as it were, shut what I'm seeing, right, in the natural and listen.
My spiritual.
Yes, and listen with my ears. Yeah. So that's what I meant. Yeah. So I'm seeing with my ears. I'm not going, because if I go by everything that I see and all of that, it can actually blind me. Yeah. You know, it can cripple me.
Yeah.
And all of that. So sometimes I tune in. You know, I was wondering what was invented first, the radio or the television? Please, by all means, Google it. It's just a random thought.
We've got 30 seconds to go.
It's a lie.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Have we been talking that long?
Yes.
Oh.
30 seconds to go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, I'll keep quiet. Well, there's enough nuggets.
Yes.
So what I meant was, in a way, it's almost like listen in.
Oh, radio apparently.
The radio was invented first. Okay. There you go.
There we go.
The radio was invented first.
I'll save it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the answer anti